Lately, there's been a huge conversation on American TikTok for a while now. Not really a while, maybe a few days now. A couple that is getting a divorce, and they are called TikTok content creators. And based on what I've seen with couple content and the dynamics that I see from those videos between the man and the woman, even though yes, you can see like it's 15 minutes or it's 10 minutes, but basically, I had my own instinct, and then I sort of made my conclusions, and then I commented on the post and everything. I commented on one, yes, I commented on it. Like I also had to contribute to it. But during my Bible study, I was studying about Jesus and who he was on earth, his character. And while I was reading through Luke, I got to a point and I just felt like I needed to stop. I felt like this wanted me to stop so that he could sort of explain something to me. And that is this common verse that a lot of people know. If I will use those words, and so I'm going to read it. It says Luke 6:37 says, "Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive ye, and ye shall be forgiven." That's the 37. And as I just looked at the verse, right, what Jesus was just trying to say there is that you shouldn't be judgmental. So there's a thin line between being judgmental and being a judge. And most times, most people fall under, like, including me myself, fall under being judgmental than being a judge. A judge would mean that you would have to get all the evidence and you have looked through the evidence, and based on this evidence, you can now fully say that either somebody is wrong or somebody is right. But being judgmental means you form opinions, or you just take one-sided opinions without actually looking at the full context, right? Let me see, for example, somebody wears miniskirt to church. I can categorically tell you that a lot of church people would immediately start to sort of who is this person? Why she could wear short? Why she could wear a short skirt and things like that? But that's being judgmental, because you and I don't know if she has a long skirt at all, or if she had only one long skirt, and while she was trying to iron that long skirt, it burnt, and because she wanted to be in church, she had no choice than to wear the short skirt and come to church. So there's a thin line between being judgmental and being a judge. A judge requires that you have all the evidence, you know everything, you know events, and you're able to make a conclusion based on those things that you have found, based on the evidences that are available. But being judgmental means that you form your opinions and then you do that without fairness. And in such cases, you find out that the person who is being judgmental is either biased, is either a critical person, or it's not just somebody that plays fair. And so if you now continue with the verse, because as I kept reading, right, I looked at the next verse. Verse 38 says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaking together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. But the same measure that ye meet with, it shall be measured to you." When I looked at that verse, for a long time, even up until the time that I was studying that Bible, when I hear "give and shall be given unto you," it's always monetary terms. We're just saying give money. That's how it has always been interpreted. Even pastors, I'm sure that I didn't just have this interpretation on my own. I'm sure that maybe pastors while I was growing had also said this thing, give money. God says you give you money, he will press it, he will shake it down, he will give you more, it will be multiplied. Things like that. But that's not what he was saying. The verse was a continuation of the first verse. What God was saying was give understanding, give forgiveness. Don't be judgmental, give kindness, because you give love. If you give love, you will be judgmental. You will forgive easily. You would not condemn people. So what God was saying, give, that with the same measure that you give is what's going to be given to you. If you give kindness, you're going to receive kindness in return. If you give forgiveness, you receive forgiveness. If you give love, if you give hate, you're going to receive hate in return. If you give judgment, a judgmental spirit or a critical spirit, of course, bear it in mind that people will be ready to also give it to you, respond to you with that same energy. That's what God was saying. And then he went further to start saying that, okay, he made the parable while he was speaking. I think in verse 39, he says, "Can the blind lead the blind? Oh, you." Like, because when you want to criticize somebody because you feel the person was short scared to church, are you perfect? If we look through you, we're able to find one imperfection that we can use to also judge you. And he said, "Can the blind lead the blind?" So basically saying that we are not perfect. So before you Try to say, okay, you want to be critical, you want to judge somebody based on what you think that they did for whatever reason that you feel like it is, whether you even feel like, what's it called? There's also this thing of being self righteous, right? You have to look through your own life and make sure that you're clean. And I would, while I speak now, I remember I think the prostitute, or the woman who had slept with different men, and they wanted to cast her, they wanted to stone her, and they brought her to Jesus, and Jesus wrote on the sand, something like that, and then said, if no one has sinned, be the first person to cast a stone. Jesus used the same measure to the same thing to, tell them, okay, if you say you've not sinned, because according to Jesus, because somebody is a prostitute and that another person tells lies, he doesn't sin is sin. So basically, he didn't address the thing that he did. He addressed that they all fall on the category of sin, and that if you know that you have not sinned, cast the first stone. And when they looked at themselves, they looked at their lives, they saw that they were unworthy to even start to cast the stone. And what happened? They left there. One by one, they shamefully left there. And so God is saying, give forgiveness, give kindness, give love. It's only God that can be the good judge. It's only God. We even see in our legal system today, even with some cases, we see that the lawyers, they cover it up, the judges make, unrighteous judgment. God is the only one who can give a good judgment. And even with the fact that he can give a good judgment, that means he's qualified to look at us and say, you sin and get out of me. But he still gives us chance, and he's not critical. He forgives us easily. He loves us easily. He doesn't hate us. And so if God, who is the righteous judge, and who we cannot hold anything against, can love us easily, can give forgiveness, why not you, who you're already stained, right? And yes, basically that's what it is. And I just thought to share, just for somebody who doesn't know. So if you have any comments inside, because this community is called Berea Clan, meaning that we are all here to learn from each other. Share, drop your comments. I want to hear your insights. Remember, we only see in part. I see in part, you see in part. So I would love to see the parts that you know about. Bye.